One journalist tonight is saying that the Glazers are going to accept $5 billion. 4 other journalists tonight talking about the Glazers situation, along with Ruben Amorim reports on the squad and where they're actually at as well, along with all the transfer news from these journalists. I thought it was just the players that were actually on international break and a break from domestic football. It does look like it was the journalist as well. All of a sudden, every journalist with his, worth his weight in gold has started to plough in on the situation around Manchester United all of a sudden. Yeah, it is simply because football is back this weekend, and I think it is simply because we need some information on what's going on, and everyone is clamouring around today, it would seem, to give us their updates on what's happening. We'll get into all of them. We'll talk about all of the reports, who has said them and what's come from them, the reaction also from them as well. Get into the live comment section, everybody. Let me know what you're thinking on all of these. We are talking why the Glazers are so quiet, why are they keeping things under wraps, and what is going on. Well, we know why. We've discussed why. So let's just talk straight away about why Manchester United right now need to sell and why the Glazers would need to sell. Interesting comments coming in from Whitwell and from Andy Mitten on their side of things. But the first one straight out from the likes of Chris Wheeler today, who's been doing an awful lot of talking around the Manchester United situation. His report from the Daily Mail, from his piece, is saying the Glazers would demand in excess of $6.6 billion, which is exactly $5 billion, to sell up. A significant return on their initial $790 million leveraged buyout 20 years ago. The previous Qatari bid, led by Sheikh Jassim Al Thani, would only go as high as $6.06 billion. $4.57 million. But that isn't to say another Middle East consortium won't meet the asking price. One of Al Sheikh's has alluded to believe to be the UAE consortium coming in for Manchester United. And you know what, with what has been said today, and one thing I do want to go into right now is what Andy Mitten said earlier on, because this was very interesting in terms of what he said regarding the takeover. First time he's had a chance to actually say his piece on what's actually going on with Manchester United. So Andy Mitten's side of things on this one, I'm just going to bring it up now. Excuse me, everybody. Throat gone a little bit sore. Let's just say that. I'll tell you more about that later on. But the Andy Mitten on what Turkey Al Sheikh said, basically, ran that tweet again. So we're now seeing the podcast come out, the Talk of the Devils podcast, which is obviously the one from The Athletic, and a lot of other journalists having their say on everything that's going on with Manchester United. And this is what Andy Mitten has had to say on everything. So, Talk of the Devils podcast. I don't have any evidence of the investment being true. I'm a little bit skeptical because I've seen people before say things that doesn't end up being true. They say, whoa, I'm only saying what I've heard, when they realise their level of scrutiny to come back, to back up and what they've said. It's like he's trying to say what Turkey Al Sheikh did with the 2 tweets. It's basically a look on it from what he's seen before, because he quotes Rio Ferdinand here as well. Rio Ferdinand, that is. He would be aware of the scrutiny. I wouldn't have thought Rio Ferdinand would have been aware when he said a deal was about to go through and that Manchester United were going to be taken over by Qatar. And from Manchester United's perspective, they've got absolutely no idea of this, as we've reported before. But the Glazers are hardly going to be ringing around journalists, are they? Again, Andy Mitten there saying exactly what we've been talking about all week. Talking about how Manchester United really don't have a clue because the talk is around the Glazer family. And that's it. No one has ever known anything as to what's going on with the Glazer family. And we never will. We never will. And that's, I think, is what you've got to look at here in all of this. Because when you're talking about what the club think and what the club are doing, the Glazers are their own men. And it's their club. They own Manchester United. And it's it's realistically always going to be that way. It's realistically always going to be what they want to do. They're the ones that are going to make the big call, and they're not going to speak to anyone in England. All the journalists have done in England has gone in on their model and what they do and how they run the football club, and they've slaughtered them, quite rightly so, because of the debt that Manchester United are in. So why would they want to talk to anybody? And Mitten is right there as well. And again, Laurie Whitwell says pretty much exactly the same thing. When he's talking about what the Glazers are going to do, this is a man that's chased the Glazers and tried to get information out of them, but has never been successful. On Turkey Al Sheikh's tweet about United being advanced talks to sell to an investor, if you put something out there like that, there's some reason to it, I would say. However, I've got no information to that degree, and United were taken back by it. That being said, the nuance is that there is a relationship with Sir Jim Radcliffe and the Glazer family, an unusual construct with them being majority owners, the Glazers that is, and Sir Jim running the club in all aspects. How long will that be the case? We can get onto the drag along right soon, but the Glazers could be having talks about their own shares, and Radcliffe wouldn't know. I'm not saying that's happening. I don't have any information to that. I slid Turkey a DM and asked him if he'd like to clarify anything about the statement. He didn't reply, but he did go public. He basically said that I'm not involved, but I've heard suggestions that to that extent that back up the first tweet. It's interesting. Let's see what comes of it. That from Whitwell and from Mitten on their side of things. Again, more journalists coming out, and they probably would have hoped by the time that they came back from wherever they've been, because it's been quiet, hasn't it, in terms of news. International break, some journalists go and take that opportunity to just take a bit of time out. But they probably would have hoped when that was broke before the international weekend, the one that's just gone, to where they are now and coming back and speaking, that they might have had some clarity and they might have been able to add a little bit more to it. But no. And again, like we said, at Mitten, the most connected man at Manchester United, Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic, not got a clue, because the Glazers won't allow it to happen. The Glazers won't allow anybody to know. They're going to be hush-hush. Chris Wheeler's comments that we started the show with, that they will accept $5 billion. We don't know that. And I don't think Chris knows that. It's going off what was happening before, when Qatari bids were coming in, apparently were coming in, and they were way short. The bid and the price was always in and around the same value, which was about £5 billion. So way over $6 billion. It was the most expensive sports club, sports enterprise in the world ever, and it would have been the biggest sale ever. So that, I think, is where that story's come from again. Look, when you look at it now, if that was the price that they wanted before, you could easily say, well, they've sold some shares once, and they've put this clause in to sell from under Sir Jim Radcliffe if he wants. So realistically, if someone comes in with a bid of £5 billion, then the Glazers have already got that $1.3 billion from Sir Jim Radcliffe from 18 months ago. So effectively, the Glazers are, for their investment, which was nothing, it was all leveraged against Manchester United, for absolutely nothing, they've come away with one of the biggest and best business transactions ever in the history of sports by taking well over £6 billion. And when you add that up, you're talking into the realms of $8 billion, near enough, what the Glazers will get. So, yeah, who are they going to speak to in the media within England to give them an idea of what's going on? No one is the answer to that, because they're about to shaft everybody if this happens, including Ineos. So again, whichever way you want to look at what everybody said, they're all coming to the same conclusion. Moving on to Ben Jacobs. Ben Jacobs saying, look, I keep getting told that there is definitely nothing from Saudi. Well, Turkey Al Sheikh said that, Ben, so we kind of know that there is nothing coming from Saudi. There is nothing coming from Qatar, no bids, and Sheikh Jazim has not shown his hand yet or stepped back into the fray to bid for Manchester United. He's then going, there is a definite consortium, though, within the UAE maybe Dubai-based, from what Ben Jacobs is saying, that are trying to come together. Now, he has gone into a bit more detail. I don't know if he's chancing his arm a little bit here, but he has said that there is nothing coming from the Glazers, or there's been no bid to the Glazers. I don't know how Ben Jacobs would know more than anybody else. I know he's got good connections in the Middle East. He's mainly in with the Saudi Pro League side of things, so that may spread to the UAE. I don't know. He will have his contacts, and he is saying at the moment that there's nothing on the table to the Glazers. There's no bid been placed. I think we could all pretty much say that, but what he is saying is there is a definite coming together, and what might be happening is a early stages of a consortium forming which can afford to pay the Glazers what they want for Manchester United. That's what is happening at the moment. It's not necessarily far down the line like Turki Al-Sheikh is saying, but maybe it's far down the line in terms of this consortium coming together, who already would probably know the price, what the Glazers want for Manchester United. And if someone's willing to pay over 5 billion quid for Manchester United, the Glazers are going to accept it, if you're going off what all of these journalists are saying right now. So that, I think, is pretty much where we're at. And again, the guessing game continues, except now we're hearing that, well, it is pretty much what it was before, except we just keep getting more and more confirmation that there is a consortium together. That basically is it. But again, just to drive home the message, like the Glazers are not going to give anything away. Absolutely nothing. The fact that Laurie Whitwell is trying to DM Turki Al-Sheikh to try and get information, that's because Laurie Whitwell has chased the Glazers forever and a day. And I gave you that story last week about what Laurie Whitwell told me and a few other journalists. Look, he got no luck in trying to chase down the Glazers and getting information out of anybody who works for them. They are the tightest knit group of ownership or family owned sporting business that there is. You just don't get anything from them. You don't get an interview. You don't get nothing at all. Not for football anyway. And they're not going to be out there and open about somebody offering them the highest price ever for a sports club, are they? They're not going to be talking to the British media anyway. And if it does come off for them, people in the business world will stand up and applaud the Glazers, will stand up and applaud the fact that they're leaving, but what they've left in their wake, my God, how they've got away with it. The Premier League take notes, European football take note, but for someone to come in with this type of ownership and destroy what is Manchester United, a once great club, still great, but obviously on the pitch we're way behind now, then let that be a warning to everybody that this is how bad a football club can turn, even with the perfect model like Manchester United have got. It's ludicrous. It really is. But that's where we're at the moment. And I'm not surprised that we've got nothing out. I was surprised that Chris Wheeler actually came out and said that they'd take 5 billion. I mean, that's a bit of a shout. And for him to say and use last year's quote, because that's where I think it is from 2 years ago. From where he says there, the Glazers would only accept a bid in around 5 billion. This is where I know it's been just brought up from last time, because nobody's mentioned the 1.3 billion that they've already got. So they've sold part of United once. They then added that drag-on clause, and they can now sell them again with Ineos not being able to do anything. If anything, the Glazers are in the perfect position here to say to Ineos, well, you do still have the rights to match that bid. Therefore, probably bringing up 2 bids for the Glazers to accept for full ownership and selling up may even trigger a bidding war, and they'll get even more money. Honestly, the biggest business play in sports history is going down right now, I feel, with the Glazers. And they are walking off into the sunset with over $7 billion in their back pockets. That's the reality of the situation right now. Good God. Yeah, you can do whatever you want over there in Tampa then with that amount of money. Jeez. But yeah, again, putting all of the reports together just before we come into the comment section, that's where I think Chris Wheeler has got his information from. The fact that nobody's mentioned the money they've already made, and they're only basing it off what they want to sell for now. Obviously, they would sell for 5 billion now because they're getting more money, and Manchester United are valued at less when the Glazers were trying to sell the first time. So, from going from getting maximum value out of Sir Jim Radcliffe and Ineos, at the price that they got then, $33 a share, to then losing valuation on Manchester United, but then selling them for more because of these clauses that they put in place. I think Ineos are just sat here thinking no one's going to come and bid this price. No one. Surely no one's going to do it. Well, you just don't know the power of the Middle Eastern money. And that, I think, is going to win the day over everything here. So let's see how it develops from here now. But that's the update at the moment. And let's just see exactly where we're at. But look, as it is, I think with Manchester United, the value of the club and everything, I just think people are forgetting. And Chris Wheeler's price, I don't think is real. I don't, because you only have to do the maths, and it's worth a lot more if someone bids $33 a share anyway. So if you look at it, again, people are really, I don't think they're very angry. I think they're just out of their depth, a lot of the journalists at the moment, with what's going on, because it's not sports, it's business, and that's a different world altogether. And I'm sorry, I don't know any of the journalists that hang around Manchester United that know an awful lot about how the American business world works in the sporting side of things. So, yeah, that's where everybody is, I feel. And I think the closest you could probably get is maybe Ben Jacobs on his Saudi connection, Middle Eastern connection side of things, trying to figure out who it is that might be able to afford United. That's it. That's the biggest update I think you're going to get, because anything from the Glazers is just going to come like a bomb, just like that, done. And that's what we'll get. Just going to have some honey and lemon. By the way, everybody, the watch along for the England game tonight, I don't think there'll be too many people too disappointed, but that is off tonight. I'm resting the voice and the vocal cords again. Yeah, it is that time of year. And it does seem to be all coming back again, doesn't it? Pain in the ass, honestly. Anyway, let's get into some of the comments. That is nice. Kaz has done me proud there with that one. Right, first of all, Akash has renewed his membership, 5 months a member. Love that, thank you. Glazers will be hush because of the potential impact leaks would have on the share price. You would have thought something would have come out. Well, the share price has gone up by a couple of dollars, near enough, since all of this speculation come out. And someone did put a report out, one of the football finance experts, or it might have actually just been a finance expert, saying that that's already added over 200 million to the value of Manchester United. So I don't think they're bothered about it being leaked out. I think the stories about them selling up have definitely given the market a bit of a boost. The market capitalisation of Manchester United right now is 2.75 billion, which is why Ineos feel like they're safe, because who in their right mind would come and bid double the price of what Manchester United are right now? It doesn't make business sense. But then when you get rich people coming into the equation, they don't necessarily care. And that's the difference. They're looking to take over everything. Tim says Ben Jacobs is crackers anyway. Adam, do you know how much the Glazers have fleeced out of our club, not counting the Radcliffe money? I don't even want to think about it, mate. I've seen someone do a full report on this. I think it was a few months back now anyway. And again, I don't want to talk about it. It's a fortune. And again, in the business world, people are looking at the Glazers and they're standing up applauding them for what they've managed to get out of Manchester United. It is the biggest shafting ever in sports business. They have absolutely drained the life out of Manchester United, and if anything, are going to walk off how much more richer. It beggars belief. It really does. And whatever they do from this point forward, I think the world is their oyster in terms of what they've got behind them if they do sell Manchester United. Absolutely staggering how they've managed to do what they have done, and all to the detriment of Manchester United. That is sad reality. Evening, Adam and all the Red family. Hope you all well. Hope you are good as well. We have got football to look forward to this week, so I am feeling a lot better about that. I'm going to rest my voice as best as I can up to that Liverpool game, because I've got a feeling that it's going to absolutely destroy it in that game. It's United-Liverpool at the end of the day. look, you're expecting something to go down. Don't forget, everybody, scan the QR code on your screen right now. Drop into the description, hit the Match Bingo link, download the app, deposit £10 onto your account, then use promo code FUTV, all capitals, and have your deposit boosted by 100%, in fact. Double your money, people. £2 a game right now. Play bingo while the game is going on for all the internationals and United this weekend against Liverpool. And join the many, many, many people in our chat here on Forever United TV. Whether you're new or not, just ask some of the mods in there how much money has been won on Match Bingo from subscribers of Forever United TV. Get on there now. You are missing out. I want as many winners before the end of this calendar year as possible. So I'm going to pin it up in the live chat for you live people. And of course, if you're catching up later on, get into the description. The link is there, everybody. I'll just scan the QR code when it pops up on your screen. You can see it there now. Match Bingo. Get on it. Win big. And again, just ask Gems in the actual chat there, the mod who's won it all, how much she's won, and she will tell you exactly how easy it is to win on the game. Funny how they banned leveraged buyouts, isn't it? After the Glazers were lucky. Honestly, Carl, we were the benchmark, weren't we? We were the club that stopped this happening again. And again, like that now, this will never happen again. Never. You will never get an ownership like the Glazers ever again. Unfortunately, we've had to deal with 2 decades worth of mismanagement. And of course, we won with the Glazers when Fergie was here. But they just took over a well-run ship. And then when Fergie left, well, they started to rinse Manchester United for everything. It's like they were trying to convince Fergie, first of all, just to keep Manchester United relevant. And the price was going up and up and up and up. And then they started to really fleece the football club. But Fergie made miracles happen. And he kept us afloat for them first few years. How many so far for the live watch along? 8th November, Adam Ragger there in the chat. I'll have to check that later. Leon's away at the moment. I'm getting the updates on everything this week for that as well, everybody. So I'll update you before the weekend on everything that's happening with that watch along as well. So that is all coming. It's just the international break, really. It's just put everything out on hold with everything going on domestically. So, and now it feels like today, especially, everything is coming back and everything is back to where it should be. So, yeah, looking forward to getting into that Liverpool game and talking about it. I think after tonight, when the internationals are all finished, all focus starts to switch towards the weekend. Teams start coming back to training. Players are returning from international duty, and away we go. And that is interesting. By the way, there is a story going around from ESPN at the moment. I'm moving on to Ruben Amorim right now and what's happened and what Chris Wheeler was saying earlier on as well. But there is a story going around from ESPN that Manchester United have spoken to Zinedine Zidane, by the way. Yeah, I know, we're back there again. You don't have to believe it. I'm not saying you believe it. I don't even want to talk about it. Really, with ESPN, I'm not too convinced anyway these days. And Rob Dawson actually came out earlier on and said, and nothing against Rob, by the way, Rob Dawson came out earlier on and said that Manchester United still haven't decided whether they're keeping Casemiro or not. I'm telling you right now, that is a garbage story. Casemiro is gone. United are not offering that man a new contract. We talked about Harry Maguire the other night and the uproar that brought. Harry Maguire getting a new deal. I mean, seriously? No. Casemiro, you would send people over the edge. No. He's gone. And I'm pretty certain they're just covering all bases because no one at Manchester United has said anything. And they're taking that as no decision made yet. Reality, everyone knows Casemiro is going to be sent on his merry way. Thank you for your service after 4 years at the end of this season. They're saying that he would have to take a massive pay cut to stay at United. No shit, Sherlock. He's not staying. I can tell you that now. Casemiro will be gone. Can you imagine this fan base if Casemiro, Bruno, Shaw, Harry Maguire, Dalot were all there in that matchday squad next season? I actually think there would be a majority portion of this fan base that would just give up on this football club at that point. And we all know that Sir Jim Radcliffe had a big issue with the Casemiro sale in the first place when he first walked through the door. That's one transfer I am pretty damn confident will go through as in a free, see you later. I don't think Man United are going to be looking to keep a hold of Casemiro. That's not happening. Whoever comes up with this garbage. Casemiro, 140 million waste of money. People have been working out exactly how much these players have cost Manchester United while they've been here. If you look at Casemiro's contract, good God, it's scary in terms of how much money. Same with Harry Maguire, how much money it's cost Manchester United. And everyone will always go back to the most unsuccessful period in Manchester United's, in the Manchester United era ever. That's what some people are saying. Right, let's just bring you up to date with what has been said. So, there's reports going around quickly just to go through. This news just dropping in. I'm just trying to get through at the moment. But yeah, it's everything that we kind of knew already that we've spoken about. Yeah, right, good. Just making sure. I don't believe the story on Chris Wheeler with the favourites, by the way, of the two Portuguese players, Dalot and Bruno, just because he's Portuguese. I'm not really with that one. I don't think there is anything in that. Chris Wheeler has been very, very clear, and he was talking on Sky Sports the other day saying this. He's also said a lot over the last few days as well, but his words that he said on Sky Sports, first of all, at the turn of this week, are still ringing in everybody's ears, and everybody is using them quotes as well, that there is no Manchester United manager that gets 3 years. Nobody comes out and says that manager is going to be trusted for 3 years. Results will determine what happens. He's actually gone into detail as well and talked about how the players are with him, but not, as in the shape and the formation and system. So the players really like Ruben Amorim. They want him to do well. They want to win games, but they're not keen on the formation, not keen on the system. Well, they're not with him then, because he is all about his system. And so we cannot say that we are with Ruben, but we don't like the way he wants to play. That's just complete opposite. You're not with him if you're not with his system. That's it. You have to buy into that system. That's the only way anyone's going to believe that you're with Ruben Amorim or you believe in him. Friends and actually liking him don't even come into it. It's all about what you're doing on the pitch. So off the pitch, no one gives a toss what these players are like with Ruben Amorim or how much they like him. All we want to know about is if they believe that they can get the best out of their game playing the way that Ruben wants them to. So, yeah, I don't believe that the players are with Ruben and then they're not with his system. That, for me, is you're just straight away just trying to cover up the fact that you're not with him. And I think that's showing on the pitch. Until we see, like we've always said, until we see plenty more on the pitch and we see a lot more consistency, nothing that anybody says in and around United, around Ruben Amorim or anything like that, no one's going to get convinced by it whatsoever. And that, I feel, is where Manchester United are at right now. Wanting to move on to the transfers, we will do another open section for all of your comments as well, everybody. But earlier on today, I was talking about the story that came out about the €120 million price tag that Brighton have put on the head of Carlos Baleba. Go and watch that video back, because that really highlights everything that's wrong with the media right now, particularly an international break. A headline and a story which just did not match. And I broke it down and made I made it look stupid, really, in terms of what was written, but added the reality to it at the same time. And there has been more on top of Carlos Baleba this afternoon from TalkSport's Alex Crook is saying as well, with Brighton, they have no plans to cash in on United target Carlos Baleba this side of next summer. Suggestions, the 21-year-old is unhappy on the Sussex coast and is pushing for a transfer, have also now been played down. We reported that the other day on another video. Look, again, I always look at the facts. I look at what Hertzler is saying. I know that he is struggling with him, which is why he's not played 90 minutes yet this season. And also, I look at the fact that Manchester United, with what Romano said, are still looking for him. I think United, if they feel the opportunity is there, will go for him. If United go to Brighton, and this is what I said in the other video, and in it, it was all about what Brighton said to Manchester United. There was never a price. There's never been a bid, because Brighton said he's not for sale. And in Tony Bloom's words, chairman of Brighton, he said that Manchester United just walked away. They didn't want to know. There was not even a saga. United may have understood Baleba wanted to come and agreements were there in personal terms, but Brighton said no. United said okay. No issue, no drama, no nothing. He then did go on, Alex Crook, to say, from what we were talking about again this morning then, another potential option for United is Job Bellingham, but that is seen as a difficult deal to do mid-season. Palace themselves are believed to be long-term admirers of Bellingham. So, on the Bellingham one, like we said this morning, difficult unless United can get a loan, first of all. But also, the fact that he's only been there 6 months and will probably want to prove a point. Clearly, from what we said this morning, no, Job Bellingham is not wanted. Well, according to our audience this morning, Job is definitely not a player that we should be going for. So, again, I don't see that one really carrying any weight, no legs with that at all. So, look, never say never. If United manage to pull a loan deal out like we said this morning, it might be an option for United. But at the moment, we're getting not back on every single target that we could possibly go for. Yesterday was the no-go confirmation for Adam Wharton. Today, near enough getting the no-go for the likes of Carlos Baleba also. We're not even going near Elliot Anderson yet because Forest won't sell him in the middle of a season again. Top 3 targets out the window. Job Bellingham, difficult, like Alex Crook says there, to get over the line. Again, that's going to be one that you'll have to keep an eye on, maybe one of them ones. But also, after that, then you're looking at what? Ruben Neves, like we've said. That could possibly be another target for Manchester United. I don't really know any other midfielders out there right now that United are actively looking at. You've got a Gomez from Seville that could come back on the scene. You never know. The likes of Stiller could come back. That might be one United try and revisit if they were even in for him. Apparently we weren't. So it is looking like we work from what we've got from within. Does Cobby get his chance? Do United involve youth? There are images which are very, very encouraging for all Manchester United fans to see, and they are coming from the club regarding Sekou Kone, who is now fighting to get back into the Manchester United fold. He is getting very, very close to full fitness again now and back in training. Also, an interesting point that was brought up by the Mail on Manchester United's situation. Let's not forget, AFCON is coming. And the Mail have made a report about the likes of Brian Mbeumo and, of course, Ahmad could be away for 5 to 6 games from the back end of the year, going into the new year, into January. So that's something that we've got to keep an eye on. Their report is that could make room for the likes of Shea Lacer to step forward, maybe even a Jack Fletcher to come in. If you're pushing Kobbie Mainoo forward, maybe, or even Bruno Fernandes, maybe Kobbie Mainoo comes into midfield then. Maybe Ruben's waiting and just saying to Kobbie, look, your chance is going to come. We're obviously going to need, because you can clearly see with 2 10s gone for AFCON, because Ruben, when everyone's fit, I don't think we'll play Ahmad at right wing back. With 2 10s out of the way in Ahmad and Mbeumo, there is definite room there. Obviously, you could say you've got Mount, but Bruno's there also. And maybe Kobbie Mainoo will feature even in the 8 if Bruno goes forward, or even in one of the 10 positions himself. Maybe Shea Lacey comes in there also. That's what Manchester United's situation is developing into, coming into the last knockings of this calendar year anyway. So, again, good point made by the Mail on the AFCON situation. And Kobbie will get a chance then. Will it be enough for him to stay? If he doesn't get game time while AFCON's going on, I can't see him staying then. I really can't see him. featuring at all for Manchester United under Ruben Amorim. Like a lot of people said this morning in the live chat already, the fact that Manchester United are looking at other potential midfield targets, even with Kobe here, tells you that he is not going to feature for Ruben Amorim. So AFCON could be his last chance. Whether it's good enough for him, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Mbeumo will be a big miss. But it will be nice to see the likes of Lacey coming through. But Sekou Kone back in training and almost ready to join up with first team training again, or under 21 training, whatever's first. That is a good sign for United, because, like I said, we are going to need as many bodies as we can. It's going to be weird for these players to go into December and actually have I think we've got 3 games in 8 days in one of the December weeks. It's madness. That should be what we're actually used to all of the time, but it just seems weird that we've actually got more than one game a week at the moment. But yeah, lots really to discuss there as well. Another one quickly before I come back into the comment section is on the Anton Semenyo situation. Obviously, we know that United, Liverpool, Tottenham, we're all after Anton Semenyo throughout the summer window. There was one story saying that Manchester United weren't offering him anywhere near what the likes of Matthias Cunha were offered. Bryan Mbeumo was offered, and that's why he just turned his nose up at Manchester United. He then went on and signed a new deal for Bournemouth, but the reports coming out again are that there is a release clause for Antoine Semenyo. So if someone wants to go and get him, he is gettable because there is that release clause. So that, I think, is something that we need to keep a close eye on as well. But again, Liverpool are favourites, and I can see why. But I don't see where he fits in at Manchester United, unless you want to drop Mbeumo or Cunha, which I don't think there's many ready to do. And then you've still got Ahmad, Mount. Need I mention Joshua Zirkzee at the moment? All I'm seeing with him in the stories right now are endless Italian clubs looking to take advantage of Manchester United's situation with him. And again, I think Manchester United are going to be attacked for their players, especially on loan come January, because people will be after Shea Lacey. People will be after some of Man United's other under-21 players. Then you're looking at Mainu, you're looking at Zirkzee. And eventually, Manchester United could be shorter than what we actually started the season with when it comes to players in this squad. Because we really have been, like we said just a moment ago, not back on all of our other targets right now. No Baleba, no Elliot Anderson, no Wharton. Again, we can talk about Joe Bellingham if we wanted to, but it just looks like it's going to be a difficult month for Manchester United. I actually do believe that the situation with the academy players and the midfielders coming through, I think that is going to play a part in Manchester United's season. I do. All right, let's get some comments in on this. Gehan says, Amorim is trying to save himself by using the old loser players at the expense of our younger players. Chido is not yet there, even in the under-21s. He's not smashing it, says Reg. Chido is doing okay in the under-21s. But like you said, it's not like he's saying, I have to be in the first team. There's only one player really that is standing out head and shoulders above everybody right now. Well, no, actually, there's a few. I would say a likelihood of players from Man United's academy making an appearance this season. In order, I would say Shea Lacey, Sekou Kone, Jimmy Thwaites, potentially Mantato or Kamasin for the wing-back situation. That's it. That's who I think is in line. You could always talk about the centre-backs, but with Leacher coming back and all of our centre-backs being fit... by the way, we should have an update on Mazraoui this week as well, ahead of the game against Liverpool. Whether or not he's going to be fit, we will have to wait and see on that one, because that's been a bit hush-hush. No real word from United. But when everyone arrives back, usually tomorrow and Thursday, then we'll start to get reports coming in. Everyone will come back and be assessed. And then we'll start to get all of the inside info was giving us a little bit of leaked information about who might be fit and who's not. There has been some reports saying that Leacher will be in first team training this week. Now, I said the week after, but there is some even saying that he could be back this week. Lisandro Martinez, I don't think he'd be fit for Liverpool anyway, so it's not even worth talking about for Leacher. I think for Leacher, my prediction was start of November. And I've always said that, and I think that's what I've been told and what's been reported anyway. That's when we're expecting Leacher back for Manchester United. So, yes, that I think is definitely a positive to get into anyway. I'm new here, but I'm not a United fan. But do you see a full sale of United happening soon? Soon, I can't say. Does it happen? Yes, I think it does. And I'll stand by what I've said before. Ineos are not going anywhere. I think Ineos want United for themselves. And I think if somebody does come in, they will counter that offer anyway. I do. I don't think they're going to go quietly. 100% we're not going to see the back of Ineos that easy. Not after what they've put in. Worry about Leacher. One more big injury. It could end him. He's coming up to contract renewal time as well. In fact, let's have a look at Manchester United's contracts right now on these players. And then we can go through it all. Right. Capology. The most up-to-date database for all of the players on contract. Right now, what have we got? In terms of players' contracts that are ending, obviously Casemiro, Harry Maguire. You've also got Tiro Malacia. He'll be gone as well. You've got Jadon Sancho, Tom Heaton. So a guaranteed big chunk of change gone on them contracts anyway. In terms of the other ones, the likes of Lisandro Martinez, after this season, just to bring him up, after this season finishes, he has got 1 year left on his deal at Manchester United. Now, Lisandro Martinez is turning 27. So, this is his last contract, his last big deal. Does he get one, first of all? Does he deserve one? Is a big question. Again, he's a player that is loved at this football club. Absolutely loved at this football club. But, again, are we looking at something here that really isn't going to be sustainable? I think that's what we got to look at with Lisandro. Everybody else on this list is pretty much nailed down. Luke Shaw will be the same after this season as well. Bruno Fernandes also 1 year left on his deal. So Bruno is signed up to 2027. Don't get me wrong, a few of these players that we've spoken about here, I've got a option for another year. So that, again, could always happen with any of these players. But interestingly enough, like we said the other day, Lisandro Martinez, seen as one of Manchester United's go-to centre-backs, or used to be. Injuries have definitely made that a debate at the moment. But he would be on the same wage as what Harry Maguire's 70 grand less a week wage would be. I know, I'm not rubbing it in, I promise you. There's just the facts and what's happening right now. But yeah, Leacher, 1 more year left. That's a worry. Like the comment says there, bang on the money. Another injury now, and you're already thinking, aren't you? Like, is it worth it? Is it worth it to keep hold of Lisandro Martinez any longer than this? I'm not too sure. I am not convinced by Leacher. I would need to see him play out this whole season without any reoccurrence of any issues at all. And then I'm worried about him going out to the World Cup and another injury then. And then you're into his last year. You might have given him a contract over the summer and he gets injured again at the start of the season, and everyone's going to go in on Man United then and saying, why are you not looking for the red flags? Why is this club run like this? We can all see that he's just one of them injury-prone players now that's never going to be fit. And we're giving him a new contract. It could be Luke Shaw all over again with Leacher. Look, I don't want to go in on him. I actually like the player. I think he will suit Ruben Amorim's system. But I am concerned about the injuries now. I can't not be. Please keep liking the video, everybody. We're almost at that 300 live like mark. Thank you so much. Make sure you also hit that subscribe button as well to stay up to date with all the Manchester United news throughout the days and the weeks. Who would your team be, by the way, for Liverpool? Get some comments in there, everyone. Then we can start talking and looking ahead to Liverpool. I think we're allowed to at this point, aren't we? We're definitely allowed to start talking Liverpool now. Let's see what we've got in here. Leacher wasn't playing his best before his injury. I think we'll be better with the younger defenders now, says Janice. But you all know that Ruben's going to put him in. I think he will. I do. Leacher was shite at the beginning of last season. Forgot the Liverpool goal. He was god awful before he got injured. Leacher struggled in the back three with his injury. Yeah, lots not really having the Leacher come back, and definitely not the new deal. But that is being discussed at the moment. A new deal for Lisandro Martinez is definitely on the cards, by the way, everybody. Just to recap for you again on all of the news, everything around the takeover, the potential takeover, everyone at The Athletic, everyone of note, anyone with ties or contacts with Manchester United are completely in the dark. The closest thing you have got is Ben Jacobs finding any information out about a consortium. Forget it from the American side. The Glazers will stay stum. The reports of 5 billion, I think, are false, because people are using last time out's figures where they were wanting 5 billion and it just came short. They will only accept 5 billion. Look, I think they'll take it for as much as they possibly can. There is no cap to what the Glazers can do at Manchester United. The only guarantee we can take from this is that they will not tell anybody what their plans are. We will know about it when they want us to know about it, and that's not going to be through any real English media source right now. They will tell them when they want to know, and it will probably be through the stock exchange anyway, as it always is. So this is going to be something that develops, and we're going to keep an eye on. I'm seeing some score predictions for weekend going in, and there's a few positive Man United fans in the house tonight. I like that. Keep it going. Anthony says, us fans know what needs to happen with the squad. Why can't the powers that be recognise this? Gotta be a purely financial thing, because it doesn't make any sense. The financial thing doesn't make sense either, does it? It's like they're a million miles off with the finances. There is no financial situation there to look at and go, this benefits it. It doesn't, because the new players that you bring in, they're still going to be on less money, and they're going to be better for the future. All I'm going to keep on saying, and I'm going to keep driving this home, these older players are getting in the way of what we might have. And I say might have because we're just never going to see them as long as these older players stay at the football club. And that's that Man United Academy. That's it. As long as Maguire's there, as long as the likes of Dalot, Bruno, Casemiro, Luke Shaw, all of these players are at Man United, just think of the positions that they're playing at the moment. All of these players have got a real place in Manchester United's first team squad and starting 11s for Ruben Amorim. And we're relying on them still. I guarantee you we see Shaw, we see Maguire, we see Dalot, we see Bruno Fernandes and Casemiro. We'll see all 5 of them in that starting lineup. That's my bold prediction. Is that bold? Really? A lot of people will come back at me and say, no, that's probably what is going to happen, Adam. That, to be fair, lad. I think so anyway. But I think all 5 of them play at weekend. I don't know why we would do that, but I think that's Ruben Amorim for you. And he could even use the excuse that Maguire and Shaw have not played for 2 weeks and they're fully fit and raring to go. Yeah, we could have that as an excuse. My God. All of a sudden, when I mention the positive scorelines coming up in the chat's gone a little bit quiet. I've noticed no one's gone. And since I mentioned the fact that them 5 players could play anyway. Yeah, look, a draw is a very good result. I can see that popping up in there quite a bit as well. A draw is an excellent result for Manchester United. And Ruben can take massive positives from that. 100% he can. That is something that no one's managed yet this season. They're 100% at home, Liverpool. So if United managed to do what they did last year, I'm running away from Anfield with that. I'm buzzing. Absolutely buzzing with that result. Again, though, like I said, it's all going to come down to Brighton. This is a huge 3 weeks now for Ruben Amorim. and it's do or die time. And the clock has now started again. Internationals finish tonight, and all anyone is going to be talking about after tonight is Man United Liverpool. And here we go again. The next instalment, the next episode of United and Ruben and what might happen with his manager. And to throw some extra spanners in the works, we might get some more news regarding this takeover. Will it push it forward? I don't know. If there becomes more and more signs that United not being in Europe next season, maybe the Glazers will just sell. We will see, won't we? Thank you, mods. Thank you, members. Thank you, all of you new subscribers, people who have got their comments in. Please pop a like on the video. We're just about to hit 300 for the live show, which is epic. Love that, everybody. Love talking about the Glazers selling up. I'll do hours and hours and hours of content on that all day, every day, if we can. But for now, that is it, everybody. I'll see you back in the morning. Sorry again, no watch along tonight on Football Talks. I'm resting the voice, and I'll be back in the morning, hopefully, dosed up and ready to rock. Cheers, everybody. Have a fantastic evening. Don't forget to hit your Match Bingo QR code now. FUTV promo code in there. Grab your 100% discount. No, 100% booster now.